And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 2 between Alliance and Monkey Freedom Fighters here in the Dota 2 Champions League Season 6. Alliance took Game 1 on the back of some signature heroes here. As for going back to his mid Batrider, Admiral Bulldog on the Doom and Loda on the Juggernaut. And it took it in quite a handy fashion here, dodging ganks in the early game, and Monkey Freedom Fighters with their lineup couldn't really come back after that. So 1-0 to Alliance. MFF, though, still have a chance to make it a 2-1 victory here in this best of 3. And for this game number 2, I have Chicago Ted joining me this time around. So how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. That was a pretty crazy game that we just watched, taking Alliance one up in the series. And, I'm looking really forward to game number 2. The IO did not get banned out, nor did the Nature's Prophet by Monkey Freedom Fighters this time around. So Alliance, they're able to pick up their first pick IO here. And a couple of weird picks coming out from Monkey Freedom Fighters. I'll let that hand that back to you.
Yeah, the Earthshaker, not really too surprising, still a very solid hero and still very good in the early game, just being able to utilize the fissure to some really great effect if you can get the right angle. Doom we see much more of recently here with the reworked Scorched Earth. He's actually really hard to bring down, especially if you can get him a little bit of help in the offlane. Then you can actually turn it into some good experience and gold as well. Alliance though, going back to the roots here as well with the IO and all the Shrek, so they still value that hero very highly it seems, but more out of a support position more than anything else, so kind of still new matter, even with old heroes.
Yeah, Leshrac is kind of an interesting thing for Alliance too, because I'm taking a look. They've got about a 56 or so percent win rate with him, but they have picked him up a couple of times in the recent games more so. And we saw last game he was played to pretty decent effect. So Alliance, I mean, trusting in this pick, feeling like they can pull it off to good extent. And again, they've got this IO, so they've got a whole lot more as far as their strategy roles, a lot more freedom to pick things that they're incredibly comfortable with. Now I'm taking a look at what I would figure they'd pair that IO with, and at the moment, I'm not entirely sure. As far as the past couple of games go, I haven't really seen that many instances of this combo, but again, it brings up a lot of exciting endeavors, and now Alliance, they ban out the Lina, which is a hero that Monkey Freedom Fighters have been picking up quite a bit recently. So getting rid of that sort of, I won't say crutch, but, common hero for Monkey Freedom Fighters might throw a stick in the spokes of their lineup. The Earthshaker and Doom, though, you mentioned, pretty decently good in the early laning stage. Doom also able to tank up quite a bit. Gives them a little more freedom as far as their mid hero goes, but for the moment, I'm looking forward to seeing where these two drafts go in the next couple of picks.
Well, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some sort of mobile global strat from Alliance with the Wisp already picked up. There's
Yeah.
still the Bulldog Prophet in the pool, unless
Yes,
MFF.
there is.
Yeah, they're probably thinking about banning that out right now, but of course that gels very nicely with the IO. And then they can probably still even pick up something like a Lifestealer. Loda really loves to play that hero, has been experimenting with that in new patch as well. And all of a sudden you can just infest someone into the IO plus 1 combo. Then you have the Nature's Prophet just teleporting around. All of a sudden, there's 4 heroes where there haven't been any just a second
Right.
ago.
And it brings back memories of TI3 finals, right?
Oh
IO
yeah.
and CK. Like, CK is now a legitimate hero right now. I won't say that as far as, some people might not still like him. I've heard mixed reviews. But if you grab a CK and a Nature's Prophet, first of all, you've got a lot of fans cheering you on because of the nostalgia of those two picks. But at the same, also, I mean, Earthshaker and Ember Spirit, they do fairly well against him. But it takes a little bit of time for that innate kind of counter to make itself apparent. I'm Earthshaker, the Echo Slam, yeah, it's great. You don't have a whole lot of illusions, but you still have illusions that make the Echo Slam kind of difficult to deal with. But Ember, he requires not only the Battle Fury, which is really good, but also a couple items after that. And if you don't get them out fast enough, if you get caught by the Chaos Bolt and the Reality Rift, it just takes one hit and you're dead. The minus armor, the crits, it's fantastic to see how fast someone gets blown up. It's almost, very satisfying.
Yeah, it's always been the problem with Ember Spirit. I mean, if you have something that doesn't really care about the Flame God, if you're tanky enough to just
Mhm.
live through that yourself, you can just go head on him and stun him up, and then he doesn't really have a lot of health points or armor to really keep him tanky. So pre-level 6, he's very vulnerable to these kind of ganks. Not even from a carry,
Right.
but from pretty much anyone. Even the Shrek, if he can get a stun off, um, and I would assume that Minus would be picking up that Leshrac again with that Edict build, Stun Edict build. Okay, it's gonna be
Ooh.
tiny for Alliance, so as
Oh.
standard as it gets, but still extremely scary. And
Yep.
yeah, Ember Spirit. I was just talking about that. If you can just lock him down for a second, especially if you have someone like a Tiny next to Tiny to do that with the Avalanche, all he really needs is a swing or two from that big old tree. Once he has a
Yep.
Diamond Scepter to just wreck faces because he has so much damage just
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah, and I think Alliance, they do get a little bit scared off. I mean, maybe CK wasn't even on their minds, and I would understand that too, but the kind of split up damage that Monkey Freedom Fighters have, it's really good. Now, I'm kind of worried about the Tiny because they do have some decent single target from the Doom, but even if you Doom the Tiny, he still does, as you said, a load of damage. And Alliance, even with the Ember Spirit and Earthshaker, they're going to grab themselves a Brood Mother.
It's gonna
This
be a
is a
good game
very,
already, I can tell.
yeah, it is. I'm almost imagining what these last couple picks or this last pick will be now for Monkey Freedom Fighters. They grab the Viper, which leaves a sort of tri-core lineup: the Ember, the Doom, and the Viper. Where do you think they're going to lane these guys? Because I don't think I've seen Viper all that often recently. I'm not too familiar where pros like to lane them.
Yeah. In this situation, I think you can have to lane him mid, maybe combo him up with just the Earthshaker being there just to keep him safe from IO Tiny burst combo. But I don't really think you can lane him up against the Brood Mother, for example. I mean, MFF would probably have to be the Ember Spirit. Maybe you can run Doom up against Brood as well, because you have that big AoE damage from the Scorched Earth to just keep the Spiderlings
Yeah.
away from you, if nothing else. But so same kind of story with the Flame Guard from Ember Spirit. But if there's a Viper up against a Broodmother, if Alliance can somehow make that work, I mean, there are rumors of S4 Broodmother mid, or what was that? Someone else? I don't know. I
You
think I've
know,
seen that before, and that would be extremely scary if they could get that matchup.
yep. I'm kind of weary about Broodmother up against any sort of melee, any core. Like they do have great damage for the Spiralings, but in the early game, which is where it really counts for Broodmother, or initially it really counts for Broodmother, these guys don't exactly do all that much to the Spiderlings. It's not like Darkseer where you have an Ion Shell. It's pretty easy to get rid of the Flame Guard at least earlier on if you've got a decent amount of magic burst from your supports. It's mostly a real issue. If he can get a lot of stuff on you and get it on you quickly, you're still going to get mown down. Whereas a ranged core can kind of play back, play it safe, still has a little bit of issue with it, but there's going to be a little bit of extermination uh, that needs to happen on the side of Monkey Freedom Fighters to deal with the Brood Mother, at least earlier on. If you can get her down, then you don't really have to worry about her as time goes on. But if you let her have that lane dominance, then things might get a little scary.
Yeah. Problem for MFF right now is that they don't, as you said, they don't really have the best tools at level 1 or from level 1
Yep.
onwards to deal with that. I mean, just look at the Ember Spirit, Flame Guard level 1, as you said, very easy to spell. And even without that, it doesn't really do too much damage either. So you can just cut it around, and then after that you're pretty much naked. And Earthshaker
Okay.
doesn't really do too much. Winter Wyvern as well. I mean, once these heroes get some levels, they will have no problems dealing with the Spiderlings between Sleight of Fist,
Yes.
Flame Guard. I mean, some upgraded damage from the Earthshaker, and Winter Wyvern's Winter Blast even. But before that, if the Broodmother is already at a point where she wants to be, then does it really matter?
Yeah, they're gonna have to be really careful of the mattress side here. I mean, Winter's Curse is so damn good against the Broodmother. If you can catch her with it, all those spiders turn on her if they're within any sort of range. Not to mention, you're probably gonna have a tiny whacking at you again as well. Like, what do you do to deal with a spider? You hit it with a stick, right? So, I mean, if it's not your own stick, more power to you. I really like this pick though, and I almost at this point I expect Winter Wyvern to get banned out, so I don't exactly think about her
Yeah.
in the drafting phase. But the fact that she's the last pick, it just makes it so odd to see. But at the same time, it does so well against the IO. If you can drop it on the IO, you've got the Brood, the Tiny hitting him, and it'll die really fast. You get on the Brood, you've got everyone hitting him. Disruptor's interesting though. I haven't seen Disruptor all that often, but he's a pretty solid hero, and the silence could be very good against this trifecta or quadfecta. I don't know if it's Gray versus Viper, but everyone else is pretty gimped by it.
Yeah. It's absolutely great up against the Ember Spirits. It's relatively easy to catch him with that Static Storm, even the Glimpse. I mean, I've seen Ember Spirits just not really having the best timing, or just
Yep.
not the space to get the good timing um on the Spirit jump, that you still get glimpsed back into the midst of everyone
Yeah.
else, and then you're just
It's
screwed, right?
yeah, it's like a catch-22. If you wait for the glimpse, he might not even cast it and you just die. If you go a little too early, the glimpse will catch you and then you get brought back. So it's really a big issue that he's going to have to deal with. And I don't know, I absolutely love the pick, but I honestly feel like at times he might just be a little bit too squishy to do really well, as well as the fact that he doesn't move all that quickly and can get run down and beat up easily.
All right, let's take a quick look at the lineups here before the action starts. We have Arke on the Wisp, Minards on that Support Disruptor, Loda, of course, on the Tiny, and that puts S4 on a Call the Shrek, it looks like. That's an All Talisman recipe, probably out of the safe lane with the duo mid. But in any case, that'll be Admiral Bulldog on the offlane Broodmother.
All right, for the other side of the river, the Monkey Freedom Fighters, we have Mad playing the Ember Spirit with Paris on the Winter Wyvern. Looking towards the mid, it's Yapzor on the Earthshaker with Necroman playing the Viper. And finally, Sing Sing on the Doombringer.
So pretty standard lanes it looks like here with Viper mid. And yeah, Earthshaker just roaming around a little bit. One thing I'd want to note here before everything starts, the Yapzor is a pretty damn good Earthshaker, so you have to start looking for plays from him pretty much from minute one, if he gets anywhere close to visual range.
Sing Sing started with some boots first, so that means he was able to run down these two supports and get them away from the bounty rune, which Necroman was quite happy to take. Looks like they will lose the bottom rune to Io, though. So the Wisp getting that early bottle out and having a decent shot. This dual mid is going to be a pretty difficult one to deal with. Viper has a better chance than most other cores, but it's still, if you let them run you down, it's going to be a lot of trouble.
He's getting some help from the Winter Wyvern here in the beginning, and with Bottle, it's really, really hard to just play the harassment game. That's kind of the problem. You're always going to get harassed out here, and that was cute little play there. Try to toss back Necroman in tower range even. Not quite getting that, but...
Well, I mean, it's a decently low cooldown that you can just continue to try that whenever you feel he gets himself out of position. But the D ward happening in mid was pretty interesting. Necroman able to knock down that one Observer ward. I think he used one of his tangos for that, though, so he's going to be short one in the lane. But so far, it's looking like this Winter Wyvern, as well as the Yapzor, they came in, they babysit Necroman, and keep him alive.
Beaver Knight eating some harassment here. The stun will miss, and actually so much damage coming his way. He hasn't really been able to find a creep, and that's what you're looking for as Doom normally. You just get this region creep or the armor creep to keep you safe, but Alliance actually blocking up that hard camp on their own with that Observer Ward just to make sure that Doom doesn't have ready access to good creeps. So he actually has to move back to his own jungle first, and that gives so much space and time for S4 to just free farm up there.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And he will find a decent creep. I don't know if he wants the stun or the, well, they're both kind of lockdowns. And it looks like he will go for the net instead of the stomp. But, you know, what kind of aura do you prioritize on Doom here? Do you want to go for the magic, the HP regen, the mana regen, or do you want the stun?
For the laning stage, I mean, he's going for the jungle now, so it's a little bit different. But ideally, you would want the region creep for laning or jungling even at the same time. This gives you much more sustain, much more ability to keep farming. Or the armor creep if you're up against a lot of physical damage here. If you were to go back to the lane, of course that's not really the case with Leshrac and Disruptor, primarily magical damage focused in the early game. But yeah, it looks like I mean, this creep right now that he has, the Troll, doesn't really do anything for him right now.
And yeah, I mean, it will give him a little bit of extra lockdown, I feel, with the net, but as far as how impactful it is in the lane, it's pretty inert. So it looks like actually he isn't making his way back to the lane. He's going to use that net, or at least maybe try to use that net to look for a gank. Could be the best thing for him right now, as the top lane is not going to net him any real gold or experience as they're getting those pulls off.
Same time, may just start jungling a little bit before he does anything of the sort.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really interested to see what impact this Doom is going to actually have as far as, when the lanes start breaking down or how he can gank it out, because the boots are going to help him get in position, but again, he's got no real good abilities right now until he's able to get the level 6. Going for the Wolf Pack leader aura, though, that's kind of interesting for this early game.
yeah, I mean, it's just much better than a troll if you're jungling. Just if you can't
Yeah,
get the region creep, you get that. It's because you can kill it through the streets a little bit easier. But at the same time, Bulldog's actually doing quite well now. This bottom lane has a soul ring, so he can start spamming these spiderlings and take control not over the lane but also the jungle. So it's not even safe for Doom to be there.
right. I mean, if they get one hit on Doom, the slow will absolutely demolish him. And a lot of Broodmothers, sometimes they play really careful when they have to deal with some of these spells that are decent against the Spiderlings, but Admiral Bulldog is showing absolutely no fear right now, and this could be a major issue if you let the Spider get out of control. Again, as the later game starts to connect, maybe she sees a lot more trouble from some of these AoE spells, but for right now, she's just having a ball in the bottom lane and doing nearly everything he needs to do.
Yeah, putting on as much pressure as he can on the Ember Spirits and trying to force out a Flame Guard whenever you can, and even then, once he pops it, you can pretty much just do that, just scuttle out. Maybe you lose a couple of Spiderlings here, but at the same time, once the Flame Guard is down, you can... Oh, damn it, I forgot. I missed that one again.
I didn't think I'd need to point it out because I didn't think that would actually happen, but Loda and Ake, they're trying to take these stacks, and what happened to Ake is the entire hard camp aggroed on him at first.
Oh no.
So he got brought down to like some obscenely low amount of HP, and then Yapsor just happened to be there, throw a Fisher out, and get the kill. It was crazy, but they're still going to go ahead and get these stacks, though Loda taking a lot of damage. They're very hard to take right now.
Just be super
Actually,
careful.
Loda.
Ake doesn't actually have too much health missing to actually keep him up, so he'll have to do some of that first, but they will be able to finish these off now, and that's actually a nice little boost for Tiny there. Getting him closer to Streds if he wants to finish them off now.
Yeah, you mentioned Yapsor was a crazy good Earthshaker. The game sense on that one, that is just hilarious, but at the same time, really unfortunate. So he's going to get a decent sum of gold from that. And meanwhile, Paris up on the top lane trying to defend this tier 1 tower. Looks like he will be successful for the most part, but this constant onslaught of aggression, they might have it within the next 5 or so minutes.
Yeah. S4 has to be careful though. There he is. Yapsor once again just looking for an angle. If S4 tries to go aggro on Paris, won't have a good time, especially since he already took quite some harassment from the Splitter Blast. But the Earthshaker will show himself now, and that'll shoo Alliance off this tower for the time being. But yeah, apart from that, he's sitting at 39 last hits. That's actually Call the Shrek with the old school build, no points in Edict, so focusing on the Lightning Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And
we call that old school now. It's not really all that old school right now, but
not
yeah.
in terms of time, but in terms of patch for sure.
Admiral Bulldog is also doing really, really well in the CS, and it shows in their net worth. They're both the 2 highest on the board, although it looks like there is going to be a little bit of net worth for Necroman to keep him in the top 3, but it's looking pretty good for Alliance. Their 2 cores are having an absolute ball right now. The only one kind of slowed down is Loda here in the mid lane, as, again, these stacks that they've been trying to take have been going very slowly.
There's another triple or quad stack here though.
God, yeah, it's a quad.
Yeah,
It's a quad.
stack,
2 centaurs, ogres, and satyrs.
It's also only in quotation marks medium stack, so
Yeah,
combo should do the
2
trick.
medium camps, 2 hard camps, and that, not too bad.
Yeah. But the biggest story is that this bottom lane, I mean, Matt is getting his farm, he's getting his levels, but so is the Broodmother, and MFF, they realize that they can't, with their lineup, they can't really contest this, so they're just biting the bullet at this point. But it's only gonna get worse down here. Top lane also going extremely well for Lions right now. They just managed to finish off the tower. Even the middle lane, even though Necroman is holding his own too, and Tiny isn't getting out of control just yet. That will change once that level 6 on Io comes online, and Ake isn't even all that far away from that either.
Oh, well, Ake speed boosting the regen of Loda as he TPs into the mid lane. Allows him to get there a lot quicker than normal. And yeah, as you said, he will start to become scary if left alone. But for right now, Monkey Freedom Fighters are doing a pretty decent job at keeping tabs on him. And Necroman, in this mid lane has been doing a fantastic job at dealing with this dual mid and even keeping them a little gimped on farm. As we mentioned, he had the higher net worth, and it looks like Matt will also be pretty decent on that board. But another big issue, though, not so much not keeping tabs on the Tiny, but Admiral Bulldog, still in the bottom lane, is doing fantastically well. We keep mentioning him, but it doesn't ever get any less relevant. He'll be going for that Orchid Malevolence, which will allow him to pretty much solo kill anyone, though it might start to fade away when the fights start breaking out 2v2, 3v3. Going to be very, very important, though, to have in the next couple of minutes.
And though, if you finish it off at a decent time, that's especially great up against the Ember Spirit, because all the spirits, Storm, Ember, and even Earth Spirit, they are so reliant on their mobility and on being able to cast spells to actually stay alive in the first place. So if you can silence him up coming out of the trees, he's actually already dead, especially if he doesn't have Flame Guard going already to kind of try and deter you from him a little bit.
Yeah. I'm taking a look at some levels right now and seeing that both the Apsor and Minus are doing pretty poorly as far as levels go, though Minus is going to go ahead and grab a solo lane up top to help him get up to that level 6 quickly. Yapsor, we typically think of Earthshaker as the hero to be lowest level in the game, so it's not really any oddity that he's here, but it still kind of sucks to have an Earthshaker that doesn't have the Echo Slam by 11 or so minutes, so they might just have to give him a free lane or send him somewhere where he can get some dedicated experience. But you have to look at the map and wonder, where is he going to go? If he goes bottom, Admiral Bulldog will probably just run him down. If he goes top, there really is no safe place to get experience, so it's looking pretty difficult for Monkey Freedom Fighters to get Earthshaker, Yapsor the experience he needs. Maybe if they find a kill, though, it would be worth it.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that you want to do if you have an Earthshaker, just try and go for these fidget blocks in the early game. So far, they haven't really been able to find that, apart from that wonky little kill on the IO before. But apart from that, Lion's very conscious about the positioning, and the warding as well, I would say. Although what's faded now, so...
Oh man, he's gonna burn down all these spiders. Oh man, that's a decent sum of gold that he just got from that.
Still burning away from that, and that's kind of the downside if you do get the drop on these spiders. That's actually a lot of gold over time.
Yes, especially the spider rights.
Yeah.
So Bulldog's got to be very careful about this one, and again, the Flame Guard is starting to become a little bit of a problem, though it wasn't level 1, level 2. It could be trouble. Yeah, he just got the Orchid delivered out to him by the courier, so maybe he tries to find a kill, but resuming creep cutting.
Yeah. He doesn't actually have too big an army right now, so he's looking to build that up a little bit more before he maybe roams the jungle. Maybe even go aggro on Mad here if he's on lane, because as I said before, if you silence him up without Flame Guard, he's actually dead already. But there's plenty of support down here. Even Knight even coming as well as Paris. They're looking for Bulldog here. Do they have detection? They do. And they do find him down there with Paris flying over the tree line. So that's actually Admiral Bulldog going down. Throws out the Orchid. That's not going to save you there. Nice little pick out there. And that's actually a lot of gold going the way. Not much deep gold. Mid lane at the same time here. RK and Loda, they're fighting here. But the Winter's Curse comes out onto the Tiny. He's still alive though. Being kept alive by RK, but not enough. As Sword might be able to clean up though. He does get the Earthshaker as well as Paris here on the back of that. So... losing 3 heroes all across the map, but they make it a 3-for-3 trade as S4. Actually takes a couple of kills and... okay, I was looking at net worth, I was a little bit confused there as it dropped when he was just dropping some items on the floor. But yeah, he is actually right next to Bulldog when it comes to net worth here on his team. And working on that Bloodstone, it's still scary on Leshrac, make no mistake.
Right, and the bottom lane, Admiral Bulldog was doing a decent job trying to scout out with his spiders, but he made one fatal mistake. He sent the spider to check the TP point on the tier 1 tower and didn't take a look at the actual jungle itself. So he had one kind of initiation spot all scouted out, but not the other. And that was his main downfall, because that's where the initiation came from. It came from the north, from Monkey Freedom Fighters jungle. So he got caught out. Of course, the Orchid not really helping him out there. He tried to get some damage on the Bulldog, but not Bulldog, on the Doombringer, but he realized really quickly that the damage would have been too much for his spiders to handle and just got them out of there.
Disruptors here, there's a glimpse back, as well as the Static Storm even committed here, using a lot to make sure that the Viper actually dies. Now, the rest of MFF, they have a little bit more room to play with here. But it looks like Alliance should be able to make it out alive.
An unfortunate sentry ward for Alliance. They drop it down, or at least Monkey Freedom Fighter's sentry ward. They drop it to check the Spider or the Broodmother, and instead they find an Observer ward.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to de-ward that now.
Oh man, he doesn't have Flame Gun up and running. He's silenced. That takes one lot of damage. But oh, nice Splinter Blast. Actually bring down the Swap down first, and this 4. Also very low as the teleports come in. He will be able to get mad, as well as the tower, but he will die at the same time. Relocate came in from Ake though, and they will finish off the Winter Wyvern with another Infest Spiderlings, or whatever the hell that kills the skill is called. Spawn Spiderlings.
Spawn Spiderlings, yeah.
And yeah, 3 for 2 trade as well, plus a tower. Losing your Lashrak though, not ideal, but it was pre-Bloodstone. He was able to still finish off the Soul Boost as well as the Soul Ring, so not actually losing a lot of gold. And reclaiming this bottom lane really for Admiral Bulldog to just be a menace once again.
And Loda coming in with a relocate back behind the fight looked. I don't think I noticed it at the start because the action was keeping me focused on the tower itself. But Loda comes in from the backlines and plays cleanup crew, and they're able to get a pretty decent trade off of that last fight. Alliance, you know, showing some strength, and Loda is definitely not a hero that you want to give those kind of cleanup fights, but he's going to have that Blink Dagger ready, which means initiations are really easy coming from Alliance. They don't even need to relocate on top of their target. They can go a fair distance away and just look for those blinks. But another big thing here is they can blink forward and toss back. But
might be in trouble now. Matt though jumps right into the Static Storm, and now the Winter's Curse. Do they have enough follow-up here? Loda dropping very low, but Ake is untouched in the backlines. He's tanking up so much, but with 5 heroes inside of MFF, there'll still be enough to bring him down. But at what cost? Bulldog is taking the tier 2 down bottom. And S4, he has an Invis Rune, is coming in from behind. Not quite sure if he can find an angle though. There's the buyback now. They want to take this fight. Midas are isolated on the wrong side of the map. Echo Slam actually committed, and he's still being kept alive by Ake. As Matt is out of mana now. Loda comes back in. That'll be a dead Ember Spirit for sure. They don't lose another hero down there even. Actually, never mind. They lose S4. His Necromancer Doom dropped very, very low with the Doom committed as well.
Yeah, Doom was committed on Ake, and he had Overcharge running the entire time, so he was taking very little to no damage from the Doom itself. Most of it was just a tick down as, the Avalanche the toss, and they're going to bring down Sing Sing. Loda finding a kill way back behind the lines and making it even more of a good trade.
That Blink Dagger, putting that to work, and they'll get him to... It's some much needed... much new mobility on a Tiny. Even if you have a Wisp behind you to give you that extra movement speed, you want to have that surprise factor. You want to be able to blink stun a couple of extra targets and burst them down. So that definitely helps quite a lot.
Yeah, and again, there are so many cheeky plays you can make with that Blink Dagger. You know, the blink forward, toss back, the blink toss avalanche combo. It's just so many options that are open to you. And all this pressure that they're putting now on team fights, either in the mid or the top or wherever, Admiral Bulldog's going to have a lot of space to just kind of split push out in typical Broodmother fashion, though. He only got a little bit of damage on that tier 3 bottom. Any sort of chip damage is really good because you can start to take these towers down, and if Monkey Freedom Fighters aren't prepared, if they're too focused elsewhere on the map, then you can easily just lose a Rax, and that will gimp you very heavily in the later parts of the game. Raxes up at sub 20 minutes are really sought after.
That's exactly what's happening now here. Sing Sing, he does get the Doom onto Load on the back of that Shadow Blade. He's actually even being blocked off by the Fissure, but Ake coming in here, healing him up, giving him extra movement speed. I might fall here with a zip in, but now Minats glimpses back Mad. Ake might still die here to be denied, and he will, but that's a small price to pay if you consider what's happening down in the bottom lane here. Paris can't even really help, so more teleports have to come in. Bulldog dropping very low, and now even they get the vision for the Winter's Curse, but there was four hero rotation. You get 2 heroes across the map, which all things considered, great for them, but they don't get the big prize. Loda is still alive and kicking, he's still farming up, and before long he will have his Agnum Scepter, and then 1, his damage will explode, and 2, his farm rate will as well.
Yeah, that was a really valiant sacrifice coming the way of Ake to keep him alive, and it worked. Like, if you doom Tiny, you have to be sure that Io's going to be there, either healing him up or relocating him back to base. Either one of those could have worked, although the relocate was on cooldown, so he will have to sacrifice himself. But the big issue that I think Alliance faced there was that even though Admiral Bulldog was split pushing down the bottom tower. When the TP started coming, they weren't able to go forward and either stop any of them or take a split up team fight where Monkey Freedom Fighters were in a point of transition. So a really good disengage by Monkey Freedom Fighters. Alliance could have gotten so much more out of that one had they been able to catch someone out, but in the end, it looks like they weren't quite able to do so, and Admiral Bulldog will leave pretty empty-handed. Yep.
Oh, they know them. There's a double stun here, plus the avalanche on two of them. They're dropping so low. Static Storm on top of them. Glimpse back. Should be there in time. Needs it as well. On to Beaver Knight, back into the loving arms of 4 Alliance heroes. Absolutely great counter initiation there. Minot smelled that coming, even though they were smoked up and invis up. But Loda gets a jump on him anyway, and now gets another 2 here with the avalanche. There's a toss on top of them as well. Not quite as much burst as he didn't get the exact combo now. Ake actually has to do some work to keep him alive. As Matt comes in from the back here, zips in, focuses on Minot here as 4 is actually cleaning house. Paris next one to fall. Admiral Bulldog chases away Necroman, who's forced to teleport out. So only losing a Disruptor here and quite a bunch of health points, all things considered. But they're going to be happy with that. Still going to be happy with that. Ake, he still has 3 urn charges, so Loda doesn't necessarily have to have too much to worry about, but yeah, gonna take what they get, and not gonna get greedy here. They're retreating. Bulldog into the jungle, keeps farming up. What's he actually going for?
Admiral Bulldog, probably a BKB. Yeah. That's what I would think with that Ogre Club picked up. There are not many other items that you pick up for a Broodmother. I mean, you don't typically go the Sange or the Heaven's Halberd style build with him, though. It could be sort of a next meta, new meta sort of thing. I do still think it'll be that BKB coming out. That'll help them, especially since it'll force Monkey Freedom Fighters to use something like Doom or Witcher's Curse on him to try to, you know, get that kill instead of going for basic spells like Fissure or like Searing Chains. So the BKB will be a great pickup for him, allow him to split push a lot easier. The only issue is that in that last fight, he was not able to split push. He was part of the fight. However, it worked out in Alliance's favor, so it really is a non-issue there. But Alliance, as you mentioned, the Aghanim Scepter will be coming out very soon for Loda, and only about, what, 1,000 gold now away from it as he's got, I have to say, a Staff of Wizardry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he's got the Ogre Club as well, so he is really close to it. And that is going to be one hell of a pickup, as you mentioned. Ake. The Arena Shadow's not much more than that. Actually, the Glimmer Cape should be coming out pretty soon for him as well in the mid lane.
Nice Force charging in here, and now they get the silence onto Barris on the backline. Bullock will clean him up. Meanwhile, Beaver Knight caught with a stun inside the Static Storm. Load and Ake relocating in to bring down the Stoom. S4 actually dies, denies himself at the last second. Now Necroman caught with the stun here. Yapso gets the Echo Slam, not really doing too much. And Loda doesn't have Yags yet, but he's still punching away, and that's enough to get them 3 kills for 1. Mad, he has to get the hell out of here. Loda has another blink, gets the stun off here. A lot of damage going off from Mad. He has the Spirit out, but it's on the wrong side of the map even. We'll chase him to the ends of the earth if they have to. Yeah.
Yeah, if they can get some vision on him, they can just glimpse him back. They actually put... Oh, man.
He gets it.
Wait, they get him! They get him! He's going to go ahead and Remnant back, though. He should be fine.
Still a vision of him, but... yeah, he should be fine. They're too far away now. There's no relocate available.
Yeah, and glimpse in 5 seconds. They're actually going to continue going for the movement speed onto Loda. Oh, man. Can they chase him down? They have to guess the path right. If they go to the north, they'll miss him, or to the west, they miss him. But they go east, they find him, but he blinks forward, and it's going to completely dodge out.
Matt's actually casually farming the Scree Pimp here. That's not what they expected at all. I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected him to go straight back to his own base, he having no mana at all, but he will now teleport back, so a little bit unfortunate for Alliance not to anticipate that correctly, but hey, at the same time,
yeah,
they still want,
juke.
They still want a team fight. Loda now has his Aghanim Scepter. Ake, getting closer to his Glimmer Cape even. He does have the Arcane Boots now, so even more region from him. Minot's taking up more with an extra Bracer.
And how about that pseudo-mechanism from S4 in the middle of that fight? Although I'm pretty sure he denied himself to stop himself from giving up the... It still healed up everyone on his team. So, you know, that could have been one of the main tipping points of that fight as well. Giving all of that to his team and then some. So Alliance taking a really good fight, and they don't actually get S4. So it's a win-win situation right there.
Yeah. If you look at MFF's lineup right now, I mean, they are behind, right? I mean, if you look at the Grass Alliance, already up to 10,000 gold lead. Even more than that in terms of experience. So if you look at MFF's lineup, what's actually their way back into this? it's not really easy with a Doom and a Viper, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Doom and Viper, they still have a really good throughout the game impact. Viper being able to do a lot of damage as people get low, and Doom always being a pretty valuable spell. But Sing Sing's going to be looking in the next couple of minutes to try to get to that Aghanim Scepter, because that's where Doom really starts becoming an effective skill to have. And without that, well, Roshan's going to drop to Loda, but without the Ags, really the Doom only silences right now. The damage isn't incredible. You can heal up whoever is being hit by it really easily. So for the moment, Monkey Freedom Fighters, they need a couple more items on their cores to make a huge impact. As Necroman, I mean, he went Mechanism Blink Dagger, which is more of a utility build, but even with that Blink, I'm not sure he's one for initiations, more mobility, but at that point, Blink Dagger doesn't really help you escape that well either.
The problem with Viper is the longer the game goes, his damage will still fall off, and all he is a walking ultimate to try and kite around. But with the Wisp around to negate a lot of that slow, it's not really as effective in this game as it would in some others. And the one way that I see for MFF is to just try and hold on to their base, defend high ground, and then just go super late to a point where Ember Spirit just one-shots everyone. That's the only way I can actually see them taking this game now, but I don't think that Alliance will actually let it get to that point. They have the Aegis, they have level 3 ulti now on Tiny. They can go high ground.
The Blink Dagger is big. Yapsor picking up that Blink Dagger, that's one of the things they really need. A Blink into a Winter's Curse, into an Echo Slam could help.
Yep.
But what is Mad's farm? This has got to be one of the most poor Ember Spirits I've seen at this point. He is 5th lowest, or yeah, I guess 5th lowest or 6th highest, whichever you want to put it, glass half empty, glass half full sort of thing. But he's got very little net worth right now. So for him to even try to fight, he's got to go straight up off of his damage. He's got no cleave, he's got no crits, he's got the drums, but that's only a little bit of tankiness, which will just get burned through by the Tiny anyway. It's become a real issue where the cores do not have the farm they need to take the fight they really need. Beaver Knight, Sing Sing being the only one that's got really any sort of great farming mechanism, and that's that Midas, but even then, he's about 3k net worth between the next, from the next highest, which is S4 on that Leshrac.
Yep. Now they're committing 5 heroes up top. Alliance, they know what's up. They took over the radiant side jungle, don't find anyone in here, so it's the only logical conclusion. And I'm just gonna give up tier 1 tower, it's not really doing too much for you anyway at this point of the game. And now they're forcing the TPs. 2 lanes are being pressured here. They're tier 3, just being whittled down by spiderlings now. In the bottom.
Yeah. And they don't have any real way to stop this yet. They're rotating people in, but there's a whole load of spiderlings, and they do a whole lot of holy shit, that sound.
That was quite loud indeed. But yeah. The way is free for Loda just to break down these racks. A couple of swings took the range racks to almost death. The glyph's the only thing actually keeping him. And now that's out. That's actually a dead range racks for sure. He still has the Aegis. He has no fear whatsoever. He tosses back Necroman for his fall to deal with, as he's actually finally being picked off now. Maybe, there it is, but that's, as I said, that's only Aegis. Necroman will be the immediate exchange. Nice Winter's Curse. Maybe not so much, only in S4 Bulldog. Got the BKB off in time. There's a Doom onto Loda here. Back a little bit just to time that out, just to ensure that they don't have to deal with the entire duration of that in a fight. Yeah.
That was a really cheeky relocate there.
Yeah. Just a couple of beats back, just in case, right?
Yeah. See, I was expecting him to relocate just back to base to top off the HP, but this works really well too, and it means that Monkey Freedom Fighters can't just push in and try to take advantage of the lack of a Tiny. So really well played from Ake as they make their way up to the high ground again.
Walk on the front line, see if they can get this off when Ake is there to try and help him out. Standouts and Necroman. Nice ultimate here from Minas, catching Beaver Knight and Mad, who's being bursted down. Nice Echo Slam though from Yapsa coming in from the back, finishing up the Leshrac, but there's only so much you can do. Bulldog here in front lines, he's having no fear whatsoever right now. As the zip in comes from Matt, he wants to kill the spider, but he doesn't have the damage. Necroman coming in here to try and help, but that was a mistake here. He will fall immediately to the burst combo from the Blinking and Tiny. Now Tiro is down, buyback on Yapso, but that's about it. Glimpse back here outside of the bounds of the base here. Paris will keep himself alive a little bit with the Glimmer Cape as well as the Oxy Burn, or at least try to here. As Admiral Bulldog though. Yeah, He's still alive though, thanks to the cold embrace, but he will finally fall. Mad, only one left alive, has to retreat here.
Yep, 3 dead with no buyback, and the racks will just drop to Alliance. It looks like Monkey Freedom Fighters maybe want to try to chase him down, but realize maybe not, and they back themselves off. But that was a crazy engagement from Alliance. The start of that fight was hilarious. They just kept going after Necroman. You know, they blink in, they toss him back. He says, no, I want to run away. He runs back up. They glimpse him straight back. And then another blink toss back. They just would not let him go. And they finally were able to bring him down. And, of course, that fight lasted through 2 lives of Necroman. But it dragged, and so many really cheeky plays from Alliance end up being really helpful as they're going to go ahead throw a Doom onto S4. Do they actually kill him, though? Is that an Ag? It is an Ags. This could be trouble.
Yeah, he is getting out, and Ake should be able to settle her up with him in a couple of seconds. Doesn't feel like he needs to, I guess.
Oh, yes, he does.
He definitely needs to, yeah, but use the Glimmer Cape for now. Ake, where's the Tether? There's the cooldown, please! Ah! Just in time! Just in time! As the Doom finally wears off.
Was coming off. It was, I was like at the edge of my seat. Like that tether was just off cooldown in time. Had it gone for 1 more second, S4 could have just died there. So really well played. Almost a lot of trouble, but in the end, no one actually dies. Sing Sing getting away with dropping that Doom and then just running out as all of Alliance were focused on keeping S4 alive. And still, the main advantage is going the way of Alliance here, as the bottom racks did end up falling. And for all racks that you can pick up, the bottom is one of the best you can get. The top, although being a little bit better because that one's a lot more unsafe to push out. Bottom, you've got your entire jungle to defend for it. But these outer lanes of racks are super important, and that's why you see Broodmothers typically go after these. 1, because they're easier, but 2, because they have the bigger game impact once you actually bring them down. So the fact that this is gone is a real big win for Alliance, and maybe Monkey Freedom Fighters, they might get a little gimped from this, but they have to try to take a fight, maybe counteracts it. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to, though.
It's really hard, because if you look at Mad, that Ember Spirit, he still has had no item progression since the last time we talked about him. Still not even having the Battle Fury ready.
Yeah.
Not even close even. He's still missing the Broadsword as well as the Void Stone. And now Roshan will be the next target once that comes back up, and that will should probably seal the deal for Alliance. They'll take at least another set of racks off the back of that. Same time, Loda, he's going for a Butterfly now after the Moonshard, so it's rather early Moonshard, nice to see as well. Of course, Tiny, with the damage that you have, you really benefit from that kind of attack speed.
Right. I mean, it's got to be like the highest or one of the highest base damages in the game. He's got no bonus damage items right now, and he's hitting for 200, close to 300 damage. This is a fantastic amount of damage for the attack speed build that he's going. And the only issue he might run into, which is really a non-issue right now because there is no damage on Monkey Freedom Fighters, is the fact that his HP pool isn't entirely great, and he's only got about 15 armor. But he's not worried about that. He's got the IO to keep him alive, to give him that extra effective HP through the overcharge. And in the end, I mean, it's just so much to deal with. He's become raid boss status without actually going for much tanky items.
Pretty much, and he also has the Soul Cuirass on Broodmother to help him out in the armor department even. Not that there's a lot of minus armor even on the side of MFF to worry about either. So he's pretty much unkillable right now, and he's not the only one. Anyone Arcade links up with will demand so much emphasis and so much fuel even from MFF to just bring them down, that even if you get the kill, you're already open up yourself to be picked off by everyone who's remaining inside of Alliance.
Monkey Freedom Fighters are hiding in the wings. They want to make this initiation happen on Alliance. They are going to make their presence known. And actually, it looks like who's initiating on who?
And it comes with the glimpse, not really effective, but that'll be enough for MFF to just be chased out. They don't get any interrupt on any of the TPs.
Oh man, that was really close, but no cigar, I guess. As Animal Bulldog on Beaver Knight, he's actually just going to chase him down. We'll back off for now, give himself some armor, and that'll be it. But that's really scary whenever you have to deal with a Broodmother like this. That initiation can come in from anywhere and at any time as long as you're standing on the spider webs. And I think Admiral Bulldog could have taken him down, but it would have been a really risky play. So he backs himself off in the end, and it just further scares Monkey Freedom Fighters more than anything.
Yeah. And also it's just keeping the jungle clean of Radiant side heroes, and that'll do its part to secure the Roshan pit, along with, of course, the super creeps starting to push in now without just demanding some attention from MFF at some point.
Yep. So Roshan with a long-ish spawn, 2.5 minutes on the randomized timer, which means it'll be very close to that maximum. It will be up and ready for them to take very soon. I imagine once it comes up, they'll just go straight forward. I'm not sure Monkey Freedom Fighters have the capability of going after and contesting this Roshan, and oh man, 10 seconds.
Oh, there's a glimpse back into the stack storm onto Beaver Knight. It's only Minus here, but the relocate comes in, and yeah, the Sing Sing. Not long for the world here, despite the link's not even needed. Nice little pick off, and that's a gem on the deck too. Why not? So with the plays here, using that blink glimpse to pretty nice effect. And now, if Roshan was up right, it actually is up. Never mind. Look at
Beaver Knight gets caught. I mean, catch him once right there, shame on you, but catch him twice, shame on him. That was not a great spot to be in after what had been a pretty out of the blue initiation not too long ago that didn't net a kill. That time they have the full cavalry available to bring him down, and that pickoff pretty nearly, if it didn't already secure Roshan before the pick, now there was absolutely no way for Monkey Freedom Fighters to even think nor dream about going after the pit. And so Alliance, they'll grab themselves the second Aegis of the game, throw it onto Loda, and hitting at the speed of sound, completely unkillable. And now with 2 lives, this Tiny has become a real massive problem for Monkey Freedom Fighters to deal with. I imagine that Loda could just probably walk up to the high ground and start hitting the tower. As was that a Boots of Travel attempt from S4 that got canceled?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Was a little bit too much there for the creeps, so that'll put a damper in their plans at the very least. But once he gets here on foot, that'll be exactly the plan. I mean, they're just gonna go up to the high ground. Loda will, yeah, he doesn't even wait for us fall. He just does it. That
yeah,
tower,
look at the tower chunk away. Oh boy.
Yeah, Loda dropping very low here. Might need some help from Aki. He's linking up with them now, and there is. They even have Linkins on S4 now. So Doom, even if it's not like Tiny's a priority Doom target, but that just makes it much harder, even in general, just for the Doom. Yeah.
They can't Doom him though. If they Doom him, he just gets either relocated back, or they just hit him with a tether and he continues to hit the racks. There's very little they can actually do about this.
Kind of have to do Maki at this point, right? I mean, he's the one that's keeping everyone alive, but then S4 is free to roam, Minus is free to drop his stuff. It's really hard.
Red herring right now. They're going to try to go in for the initiation, but they won't catch anyone. Now they glimpse back.
Beaver Knight actually walks right into it, and that's actually Disruptor going down, but they already used the spells Loda now. He still has the Aegis, and nice Echo Slam here. And now if Aki dies, that's all of a sudden gets a little bit harder. Bull here tries to do what he can to cover off that BKB. S4 comes back, and that'll be the Earth Checker going down. The rest of the MFF that's getting through the winds. Paris will get caught. Save for Necroman as that tiny stone. Actually not that tiny at all. Gets back up and running. Mad silence up, but he's still pretty fast. Not fast enough though for the blink. And Loda didn't actually have the avalanche cooldown, and Bulldog just dies to the fountain. Oh my god.
That was cheeky.
That was just silly. But yeah, what can they do? I mean, they already took the racks, the range racks now. Next one to fall. They can't actually take the top racks because the tier 2 is still running, so.
Okay, so that was the perfect execution, or not the perfect. I think the perfect would have been a wipe, but they got the Echo, they got the Winter's Curse off, and it was beautiful. They even were able to take down the Aegis from it, but the damage is way too much. The barracks just die in 5 or 6 hits from Loda. It really becomes, well, okay, we can win a fight, but over the course of winning that fight, we're just going to lose all of our buildings, and before you know it, the Mega Creeps are going to spawn, and after that point, even if you win fights, you're just constantly losing the game. So, really good play from Alliance, going after the objectives, and are able to secure yet another lane of racks, making it 2 up at 37 minutes. That's approaching a very, very dangerous zone for Monkey Freedom Fighters. Almost near impossible to come back from, although it has been done at this point with a 30,000 net worth advantage for Alliance, 30,000 experience, 2 racks up. I think this would be a record first if they were able to pull it.
It's getting into the territory for sure, but one hero can do it. It is the Ember Spirit. So if Alliance would just go AFK for like 20 minutes and that Ember Spirit can get like maybe 1 or 2 crit sticks up, he already has a Chrysalis for one. Then
Even I don't think
maybe.
it's Ember
Oh,
Spirit.
he's gonna die here.
Well, he's
Oh wow, he gets
he's
out.
able to get himself away. I don't think it's the Ember Spirit that they think about to turtle. I mean, you saw in the last fight who it was. It was Yapzor on the Earthshaker and Paris on the Winter Wyvern. These two are who you need to defend your racks. The cores, yeah, they'll get items as time goes on, but for the next couple of fights, these are the biggest players. These guys are your cores, and they're the ones that need to make the perfect fight happen. Mad, he's just a little bit of follow-up damage, but I have to emphasize a little bit because that's all he is. He's not anything major at the moment. He's going to need 1 or 2 more items before he even starts making a sizable impact. And in fact, he could just be dead again here. Nope.
Dota comes in, blinks across, does actually miss the Avalanche, and there's the BKB on top of the Doom, and he just doesn't care. He doesn't even have an Aegis now, or any help coming. What is... Okay, Necroman gets isolated in the back here, trying to fight up as Loda finally decides that it would be maybe a good idea to get that loud. Arke is there, and Descat to relocate back to, not even back to base, back up top. And the fight rages on. S4 still cleaning house. Rio's down already. Bulldog there does have a basher, and that'll be the Ember Spirit going down. Beaver Knight next one. There's no buybacks, and this is GG, just like that. Didn't even need the Aegis.
Well
Loda was just like, hey,
yeah.
Look at me, try to kill me, I dare you. And
well, that was exactly going back to what we were talking about earlier. No matter what they do, right? If they drop the Doom on Loda, the IO just comes in, Ake just comes and saves him. So they really did not have a good target for the Doom, but that was as good as ever they could have taken. And unfortunately, they make a fatal mistake trying to defend their tier 2 tower when I think they had to have turtled the high ground. But even then, you let them get up to the high ground, you just lose your rack. So catch 22 and Alliance, they play a really nice game.
yeah, it's as I thought. They are starting to get back into the zone here, and let's not forget, the last match that these two teams played actually ended up with a 2-0 the other way around. MFF took that in, I think, the Nanyang qualifiers.
Yep.
So Alliance showing up this time around, doing some... I didn't really see too many errors in the game even, right? It's not like it was just MFF playing bad. Quite the contrary, it's just Alliance playing very considerate Dota.
Very considerate and very efficient Dota. I love to see these guys on heroes that we know and love them on. So really well played, really good execution from Alliance, and that's a 2-0, right? So that's it for the series.
But that is not the only D2CL that we have for you tonight.
Oh,
In fact, there's one more series coming up, and even though the Monkey Freedom Fighters did fall, we still have some more. Monkey Business is taking on Kaipi in just about an hour right here on ESL John Dota Red. I'm probably just going to play some music. In the meantime, you can head over to ESL_Dota2 to check out the ESL 1 coverage, and that should keep you covered in terms of Dota. But yeah, we'll be back soon. So set your clocks. See you then.